Hello, 你好. Today we're going to talk about 汉字. 汉字. 汉字 is also 中文字. 中文字. Han is the biggest ethnic group in China. 字 is characters. 汉字 is Han people's characters. 中文 means Chinese language. 中文字 means Chinese characters. So 汉字 and 中文字 both means Chinese characters. This is the early Chinese characters were found on the turtle shell and ox bone or the animal bones. So those are the earliest found characters that we can find. And that in Chinese we call 甲骨文. 甲骨文. 甲 means the shell. 骨 means the bone. 文 means the script or language. 甲骨文 is called oracle bone script. This is the earliest characters that we can find, and it's around 3,000 to 6,000 years ago. Next, during the Shang and the Zhou dynasty, which around 1500 BC, that we found those characters were carving on those metal or bronze containers, which for worship gods purposes. That's what we call those characters as 经文. 经文. Jing is gold, but right here means a metal. Actually, more precisely is bronze script because most of those containers were made by bronze. And then later on the Qing dynasty, the Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of Qin, unified the look and the shape of those characters. Then he used to carve those characters or his name or his title on a piece of a jade or rock, and it become the seal. That's the first time that Chinese has a unified, more like a squarely or more like a systemized character, and we call 小篆, 小篆, which means a seal script, because he is the first emperor, and the seal is the power of an emperor. Then later on the Han Dynasty, brush and paper were invented, and then we use brush to write and on the paper, and that's brush's unique stroke or the look of the characters eventually changed from the seal script to a more character look like a symbol or writing system that we call 隶书. 隶书. So it's called clerical script. Shu means book. So basically it's more like a, looks very neat and lined up. It's more like a book text kind of characters or the script. Until modern day, the one we use is 楷书. 楷书. 楷书 does not have English equivalent of the terms, which is called 楷书, but that's just the type that we use in our Chinese textbook or newspaper. So most the modern words that we are writing right now, either by hand or print through press, that we call 楷书, is the modern type. Now we know the history of the Chinese characters. Let's take a look of the writing system. So how do those characters were made? How were they made? Or how do they look like the way that they look now? Actually, they come from different ways. So those we're calling there are 6 categories of the formations of Chinese characters. Number 1 is called pictographic, 象形. Pictographic is basically just from a picture. Number 2, self-explanatory, 指示. That means the character actually tells you what that means. It has some kind of indication to tell you the meaning. Number 3, associative compound, 会意, is using the existing pictographic character and put 2 or more together to form a new word to express the meaning it tried to say, or the things they're showing. Number 4, phonetic. Pictophonetic. 形声 is basically half of the word is pictographic. Is it for the shape or for the indicates the meaning? Phonetic means a sound, so half of the characters give you a hint of how to pronounce the characters. Number 5 and number 6, we are not really, not a lot of words were made by those 2 different ways, so we don't have to worry about this right now. So from number 1 to number 4, they are pretty much like 96% were above of the Chinese character or come from those 4 categories. Now let's take a look the details of pictographic characters. So 象形, 象形文字, we also in English we call hieroglyph, refers to the method by drawing the profile of an involved subject, such as 月 means a moon, which looks like a curved moon. So that's how it looks like. It's a drawing, a picture, and it gradually evolved, become the characters we have now. So we have another 3 characters. So this is an animal, and eventually, gradually, from the picture kind of shape or symbol kind of shape, become more line or stroke, and until the 隶书 that we write today. So first one is a horse. It's a standing horse right here. The second one is a fish. So you can see the fish has a head right here, and then gradually become the line only. The third one is a car, or wheelbarrow is something has a wheel. It has a 3 wheel. On the first one, the Oracle bone script eventually become 2 wheels. They have the wheel that you can control the direction, and later on got simplified, become only 1 wheel, and that's a represent for the car or a vehicle. So pictographic word character is basically the character reflects the picture of an object which is around our daily life. Now if you have time, please go to OneNote, the page, and to match the pictographic with the modern characters and the picture. Category number 2, self-explanatory. Some people call it indicative or abstract concept. So self-explanatory characters are made up by adding self-explanatory symbols on pictographs, or totally made up of symbols, which is 刃 blade, which is made up by adding a point on the cutting edge of a knife, pointing out the position of the blade. So here's the knife of the picture, and that's how we write knife, 刀 in the modern 楷书, and this is the Oracle bone script the knife look like. So it's like this. And if we want to say the blade, then we're holding the knife and we adding an arrow pointed out. It's this part. It's not the handle part. It's the blade, the lower part. So that become the 刃, which we write today as the blade. So you can see Dao and the 刃, knife and the blade. The blade actually has one extra dot on the side, which is pointing to the edge. Now, let's take a look at another one right here. Above, up or above, down or below. Imagine this curved line is a hand. So on top of the hand, there's a something. So say you're holding a candy on top of your hand. So we'll say above or up because the candy is above your hand. And if you move the candy down underneath your hand, then this little line pointed out means down or below or underneath. So 上, this is the modern word we're looking at right here, means above or up or on the top. 下 means down, below, or bottom. It's look like that. So one up, you see the line and everything happened above the line. And down or bottom or below is everything happened underneath the line. So they're more abstract concept. Now let's take a look at another one. This is pictographic of a person. That's how we write 人, person, and that's a pictographic. Now, if a person stretch out his arms and very, very big, and that become the word big. And if the person has a line underneath the person as a ground, so this person on top of the ground means a stand. And there's one more line on top of the big, which is person trying to be stretching the arm to be big, and that's the one line above the person, and that means the line means it's the sky. So those words are called self-explanatory characters because with a simple line, with a pictographic, they pointed out something extended meaning from the pictographic that means something else. And it's most likely more abstract concept. The third category is called associative compounds, are a combination of two or more symbols to represent a new character with a new meaning. So for instance, the character 明, bright, is composed by 日, which is the sun, and 月, which is the moon. That's the most illuminated object in human world. So that's why we took those two things and put them together, become a bright. So it will be bright when the sun and the moon appear in the same place. Now we look at another example. This is a 人, a person, and that's a tree. So when a person lean on the tree, and this final characters 休 means to rest. Okay, one more example. If we have an eye on top of a 人, which is a person, and that character means to see because we exaggerate the eyes. Then if we have a hand, we actually look like a bird's hand on top of a person's eye. So if you put your hand above your eye, what you're doing, you're actually is searching for something. So this word, you put those three together, is called me, means to search. So associated compounds means you have two or more than two, could be three, parts of a component, put them together to create a new word. Please watch the next video for the fourth category.